The story of Hansen's. Hansen soda. You're never going to see that. I could not believe what I was reading. You're never going to see this
Okay,
coming.
I've officially strapped into my serape,
Yeah.
so we're...
Buckle up your serape. The story of Hansen's begins with a man named Hubert Hansen. Apparently, nothing is known about this man.
I bet you're going to be like, oh, his last name was Holmes. Hubert Hansen Holmes. He built a castle in Chicago. Have you heard of him?
Originally, it wasn't soda he was drinking.
He made soda by mistake by boiling someone's hand in acid. He's like, I could drink this.
This is delicious. Good thing the World Fair's right down the street. Apparently, nothing is known about this man other than that in 1935, he opened a castle. He opened a juice stand called Hansen's Fruit and Vegetable Juices that he ran with his 3 sons.
Okay.
Which was his sitcom.
3 sons who formed Hansen?
My 3 blonde sons. Eventually, it was just called Hansen's Juices and then the Fresh Juice Company of California. But whatever he called it, he was slinging juice.
Yeah.
They had your orange, your apple, carrot, strawberry, and banana. But what he really had was a great location because he was right near the studios in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. So his main clientele were people who worked in the studios.
Right.
So like Clark Gable comes by.
Right.
Give me some banana.
Max Factor comes by, barely speaking English.
But that was the worst Clark Gable impression.
It wasn't good, but also I can't remember what Clark Gable sounds like.
So maybe it is a
Frankly,
good impression.
my dear.
Frankly, my dear, I don't like carrot juice. So that influential customer base, your let's think of another celebrity who would come in 1935.
Let's see, you got a Myrna Loy, you got a William Powell. Those are my 2.
Judy Garland would come by and she'd
be shaking from hysteria.
She'd be shaking it, and then she'd get an apple juice, and then the head of MGM would come by and knock it out of her hand and.
What did I tell you? Where's your watcher? Where's Eddie Mannix right now?
Where are those munchkins? So that influential customer base and his innovative combining of different juice flavors gave Hansen a certain degree of success that allowed him to open his own juice-making plant in LA in 1946, which allowed him to make 35,000 gallons of juice a week, which allowed him to market his juice nationwide. So he was selling juice nationwide. This same plant was still in use until 1993 when they moved to Azusa, which is a city that keeps coming up, and I keep, for some reason, not pronouncing it right. It's Azusa.
Azusa. You got it. It's not hard. Azusa.
John Philip Sousa. I got it. However, this is not quite the Hansen you're familiar with. Now I am going to talk to you about the band.
Yeah.
Hubert's fine, but have you tried the guy who sounds like an evil twin of Jim Henson, Tim Hansen? In 1997, Tim Hansen, who is Hubert's grandson, branched off from the main Hansen brand to start Hansen Foods.
Okay.
He was still selling fruit juices, mostly apple, but he was packaging and pasteurizing them so that they could sit on a shelf in a store and say fresh, which was a game changer for the Hansen juice family. Like they could be sold on a store weeks later now. But not even that was as big as the next big thing to come to the Hansen name, soda. Okay. Soda pop.
Carbonated beverages.
Carbonated, a word that Coca-Cola is going to sue us for saying.
You didn't say bubbly, did you? I'll see you in court.
You didn't burp, did you? You've been served.
Let me smell it. Yeah, you're in trouble.
Tim Hansen decided to step away from juice and launch the Hansen's Natural Sodas line with flavors like cherry vanilla, root beer, ginger ale, kiwi strawberry, orange, cola, not Coca-Cola, grapefruit, key lime, mandarin lime, pomegranate, vanilla, cola. This was around the early 80s, and they became known for their flavors, but also their marketing campaigns and their packaging. But all the fruit flavoring and razzle-dazzle still wasn't enough to cut it against the big boys, and in 1988, the company went bankrupt.
Okay.
Their factory was bought by Tropicana, and then in January 1990, they themselves were bought by California Co-Packers Corporation, so the Hansen soda lived on, and then they were given the second of their 3 lives by the almighty savior who comes for us all, health food trends from the 90s.
Yes. Oh my.
Oh yes, baby.
They got us to do anything.
Cue our 90s montage.
Oh my God.
Here's what I've got. Britney Spears looks like a child and is singing in a red room. The Blink-182 album cover with the nurse putting on a glove. Tommy Pickles squirts his bottle at the camera. O.J. Simpson's in the news. Pogs.
Enough for touchdowns this time.
He touched down a little too hard. It was more than just a touch. Pogs. The first 150 Pokemon invade Iraq. The Northridge earthquake makes me wet the bed. Matt Zombo will not leave me alone. And yes, America can smell what The Rock is cooking.
Rollerblading and pastel colors. Nirvana is the biggest thing ever for a little bit.
For a little. Nirvana's going strong until it isn't.
Flannel. Curly, gross, wet hair.
Tom Hanks, just unimpeachable.
Several different clips from Sabotage, the Beastie Boys music video. And we're caught up.
That's the 90s, everybody.
I'm pretty sure you snuck in a couple early 2000s, which is, I mean, you were like a little baby by then. I was a full grown man. So.
What was the early 2000s? Name one.
I think Blink-182 is early 2000s?
No way. They started in the 90s. They had to.
I don't know when Dude Ranch came out.
Look, I'll take you to court on this, but I'm pretty sure Blink-182 started in the 90s.
I'll give you cutoff 1999.
That's good enough for me.
I take it.
And I'm counting 2000 as the 90s. It's a whole millennium thing. It's the 91st episode. So early on in the 90s, eating natural, healthy, quote unquote, food became once again the big trend, and that extended to beverages.
Zima. Make mine a Zima. Was that the? I know from a bunch of movies where people have been in clubs like make mine. Yeah, I'll have a Zima, but that's how you knew he's a douchebag because he has a ponytail.
We're back to Night at the Roxbury, which might have been early 2000s.
You tell me Will Ferrell's in it, and I don't believe you, and I have to be like, oh yeah.
You're forgetting Chris Kattan, Greg, which could also be added to the 90s montage. Chris, I could have just said, and welcome to the 90s, Chris Kattan and Chris Kattan. So everyone wants healthy food. They all want their Zima. This paved the way for the rise of what were known as New Age drinks.
Okay.
That basically meant any healthy sounding alternative to Coke or Pepsi, even if they weren't actually healthy. Your iced teas, your flavored waters, and of course, your natural sodas, the niche that Hanson's had already carved out for itself. Yeah. This was a godsend for the struggling Hansons because now everyone wanted their inferior tasting soda because it seemed healthier. And I drank a lot of Hansons in the 90s. And, not now, but like back then, I was drinking a lot of Hansons. But maybe I was drinking Diet Hansons.
That's even worse. Just like water?
It kind of was just like seltzer, basically.
Yeah, they just shook water really hard and let you drink it.
They shook water and it bumped up against an orange. I think maybe the non-diet ones had a better taste, but it's a specific taste.
Is that why you're better than me?
One of the reasons. Yeah.
One of many reasons.
And I knew what a simulacrum was pronounced as.
Great, what is it? Nah, we don't have time.
I'm too good to talk about it. I'm too sexy for simulacrum. 90s. And Hanson's leaned into this by marketing themselves to seem way healthier than they actually were. But the other guys put out as much competition as they could to steal the throne from Hanson's. Coke put out Nordic Mist. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember.
You don't remember Nordic Mist? No. It was like a Sprite almost.
Okay.
Pepsi put out Crystal Pepsi, but the king of all the New Age drinks was none other. Can you guess what it was? Knowing what a New Age drink is and what we've been referencing for the past 5 minutes.
Yeah, God, a New Age drink. It would be
a healthy sounding thing everyone was drinking in the 90s.
I can't think of it.
Snapple.
Oh my God, you're right. Pop the top. There's a question or a factoid.
Snapple was that was the thing.
You're right.
As much Diet Hanson's I was drinking way more Snapple. It certainly wasn't drinking Nordic Mist. Hanson's marketed itself as a California favorite to further capture the health conscious image that California has. Yeah. And using a healthy seeming region was unique to them. Nordic Mist, clearly Canadian, which was the sparkling water thing. Yeah. Deliciously Detroit. No one sold that. No one drank that. Don't sue me, Coca-Cola. So this whole gimmick that Hanson's was a healthy soda was working, even though it wasn't actually that healthy. It was soda. Like, it's not... Soda isn't healthy no matter what.
It's rotting your teeth and it's bad for you.
Yeah. Take that back. Shut up and take that back. They were still using high fructose corn syrup all the way until 2008 when the FDA said that if you used high fructose corn syrup, you can't use the label natural. So only then did they switch to cane sugar, which still isn't good for you. Their new life...
It is good.
But it is good for me. Their new life allowed them to expand in 1993 into the Midwest, where to make it more appealing to that lifestyle...
They put a gun in it. No, I'm thinking of the South.
They put
a Bible in it.
Yeah, just fill it with milk and people will drink the hell out of that.
Got a floating Bible in it, so
little Bible ice cubes. They started marketing 23-ounce glass bottles of Hanson's because out there they like to drink a lot of soda and they like to see it when they drink it. In 1994, they expanded into the UK, who kicked them out in 1997 because they didn't like it, and then in 1999 they went to Canada. In July 1994, they doubled down on their health-conscious image and started doing their Equator line of drinks, which were based around having an eco-friendly image with all the proceeds going to Earth Day, whatever that means. That was the name of the CEO. That was his dummy account, which they thought would appeal to the younger crowd. It didn't, and that didn't last long. Then in late 1995, they released their smoothie drinks, if you remember those.
Not really.
They were like canned smoothies.
Hanson
smoothies.
No two words put together with such poetry than canned smoothies.
Nothing just incites your taste buds. Just pop in a aluminum container full of chunked fruit. Nothing sounds more delicious
when
than
it gets
that.
warm, it tastes like vomit. Where it feels like vomit re-entering your mouth.
Which I think I might have had in the 90s in like an emergency backpack was like a can, because it's like, that'll keep you full. Ugh. Drink a canned Hansen smoothie. They were not quite as thick as a smoothie, but thick enough to make me nauseous whenever I had one. This gave them a much needed boost in sales because smoothies were also big again at this time. And these had herbal additives in them like Snapple did, but were different enough in taste to a Snapple, so it was something new for people. Then in early 1997, they started doing what they called functionals, which were drinks that had a lot of added vitamins in them and were marketed specifically for being good for your health.
Okay.
What these basically were energy drinks, which brings us to the third incarnation of Hansen's and the insane twist that I was teasing.
Okay.
Over the next few years, they made more and more of these functionals and came up with new recipes until 2002. They finally hit it. They got their recipe just right. They got just the right energy drink, but the mad scientists up in Hansenstein's castle had gotten so far away from nature with this drink that they had to completely rebrand the whole company of what they were doing.
Whoa.
This drink was going to be energetic. This drink was going to be extreme. This was going to be a monster.
You're kidding me.
Hansen Soda had created what they described as the meanest energy supplement on the planet, Monster Energy Drink.
Oh my
was made by
God.
what we were drinking in that health conscious thing in the 90s. Created
That's
Monster
wild.
Energy. It's insane. It's a monster. I couldn't believe it. It was crazy.
I'm trying to come up with a perfect analogy for that. I'm blanking.
I don't think I could come up with one either.
Of like, it's not even twins with DeVito and
No.
Tristan. It's not even that.
The best thing I have is that it was made by the Opie Taylor of soda was Monster Energy Drink.
God, what's the guy who breaks windows? And maybe he breaks windows and he laughs.
I don't.
Ernest
I forget his.
T. Bass.
Oh yeah, Ernest T. Bass.
It's
Opie
like,
grew up to be Ernest T. Bass. It's unbelievable. It's unfathomable that they created this and then like wholly embraced it. And all of the like, well, come on down and drink some nice Hansons. We're made of only the good stuff too. Like we're just a guitar solo incarnate. Liquid bass pedals.
What do you like? Car crashes? Fine.
We got it. We got it in an aluminum can. As we all know and lived through this, Monster Energy Drink was and still is huge.
Yeah.
The Monster Energy Drink was so much more popular than anything Hansen's had ever done before.
Yes.
It made them tons of money and was so completely opposite of all their previous products and marketing. I still can't believe that they're responsible for it.
Yeah.
And because it was so successful, they poured a ton of money into promoting Monster to draw business away from their main competitor that popped up, which was Red Bull.
Right.
They also faced competition from our old pals Coke and Pepsi, with Coke putting out Rockstar.
Yeah.
And Pepsi doing Sobe, if you remember those.
I remember Sobe.
I kind of liked Sobe.
I don't really remember much about it. It was like an iced tea, like a canned iced tea.
Yeah, it was an energy thing, but it was almost like a thick iced tea.
Okay.
Sobe's long gone, but Rockstar's still around.
Yeah.
Monster became such the lion's share of Hansen's business that in 2012 they renamed the entire company from Hansen's Natural to Monster Beverage Corporation.
Say that sentence again. Maybe just the last part.
They renamed the entire company from Hansen's Natural to Monster Beverage Core. And the core stand for like your abs, like your core muscles. They were selling Monster Energy in over 114 countries, but Monster was not without its controversy. Lots of people had sued them because, as they claimed, the drink was so extreme that they got a stroke after they drank one of them, or their dad died after drinking one or something like that.
Yeah.
The entire country of India banned them because the ingredients were like contradictory. Like there's things that are supposed to relax you and then make you crazy in them. So like, we don't want this.
Like I remember that was the first, I was pretty young and it was the first instance of chest pain. I'm like, oh my, this is awful.
That's the rite of passage when you drink
their
a Monster
logo is
Energy.
chest pain.
It's a guy. It's Hubert Hansen clutching his chest, vomiting blood.
Lurched over.
Monster itself, they sue a ton of people. They sue random places that happen to name their product Monster or Beast or anything relating to that whole vibe. And not even just sodas. Like one restaurant had something called Monster Nachos or something, and they got sued by Monster Energy. Like they're just suing everybody.
Forrest Pickett's getting sued.
Let him try to stop his mashing of monsters. They
Call it the Spectre Stomp.
Which I wouldn't be surprised if that was... He did the Transylvania twist. But the weirdest one is they sued a group of fish enthusiasts called Monster Fish Keepers, and they sued them. Apparently, they filed more cases with the U.S. trademark courts than any other company ever.
Wow.
I
They
mean,
really are monster monster of litigation.
It's Hanson's Monster is their official name.
Yeah.
Who's the real monster? Along the way with this success, they absorbed the Blue Sky natural beverage company, Junior Juice, if you remember that from a kid from your childhood, and Peace Tea. But in 2015, they themselves sold the Hanson's brand to our old foe, Coca-Cola, for $2.5 billion, but they kept Monster for themselves.
Okay.
So Coca-Cola, believe it or not, Coca-Cola is still around today. The Hansen soda is still around today. It's sold in Sprouts and Walmart and Whole Foods and a few other places. And their headquarters has been in the poorly named city of Corona, not a good year for them, since 1998. But the latest victim of a trademark Monster lawsuit was its partner, Coca-Cola itself. They sued Coca-Cola because Coke started putting out a drink that you also might be familiar with from a few years back. It was a lemonade called Hubert's Lemonade. And if you'll recall, the fruit squeezer who started this whole story was a man named Hubert Hansen, who had died in 1951. And on these Hubert Lemonade bottles, they were putting Hubert Hansen's life story, which the Monster Corporation did not give them permission to do. So they sued them, and it was settled just before the pandemic hit. And Monster won $9.6 million in damages and $7.4 million in legal fees, making it the biggest verdict of its kind in U.S. history. So stay amped up, Monster Energy drink, and I'll see you in court at 4 a.m. after drinking 6 of you.
After pacing for 2 days. That's wild.
Yeah, it's bestial.